There it is.
Oh.
Okay, we're at the Redwood Motel in Grants Pass, and we're going to do a little bit of history of Dad after he disappeared in Oklahoma. And we're at the Ray Geer's room here, my uncle, in his room at the Redwood Motel, and we're going to try to trace Dad from the time that he had disappeared in Oklahoma until you guys finally ended up out in Oregon or out in Washington together.
Okay. The first I remember, Willis came to Colorado, Clifton in 1925, and he was there for, he came in 24, but we met him in 25, and he was very smitten on Isla at that time, and he left there in the summer of 25 and came out to Baker, Oregon to work on the Sullivan Ranch.
Okay.
It was a cattle ranch. And we came out from Colorado then, later that fall, and drove out where he was working. Met him, had a picnic dinner out there at the schoolhouse, and we drove on to Longview, Washington, camping every night along the way. And there was 6 of us in the car. And we got to Longview in October, late October, for us kids to get back in school. And we went to school there, and he and Isla stayed with us for a short while after they were married in December on my 10th birthday. And we went they went out to run a milking machine on a cattle ranch out at north of Longview, and us kids stayed in school there. And later that same year, the next year, he and Isla moved to Olympia, Washington. He was milking cows there with this pine tree milker that is supposed to have been brand new at that time. And
what's a pine tree milker? You mean automatic milker?
That's just one of these new kinds that has the suctions on it. Milks them by hand, milks them by machine instead of by hand. And it was brand new, and this was the first time that anybody used them out in that area. And he'd had practiced with it there at this ranch, so that he knew exactly what to do and how to do it, when to take it off the cows and when to put it on. If you left it on a little too long, well, you got a little bit of blood in the milk.
Oh, I see. Okay, now you were born in what, Superior, Nebraska?
Superior, Nebraska.
Okay, what was your birthday?
December the 4th, 1916.
Okay, and you're 2 years younger than Arna, right?
I'm 2 years younger than Arna.
And you're how many years younger than Mom?
Arna was born in 1907.
1907, okay.
So she's 9 years.
9 years. Okay. Now, we had talked earlier about this, and you were trying to refresh your memory about when Dad first showed up. Now, would you recount who Dad, or you were talking about a buddy of his, and so forth.
Okay. When he showed up there, he and Glenn had got together out at the shale mine.
Okay, now Glenn's your brother, older brother.
Glenn's my brother,
right.
Yeah. And he just came back from Colorado, or from California. He'd been out there for about 2 years. And so when he came back, he was out at this shale, working in the shale. That's where he met Willis, and this Merle Conklin that Willis had been friends with, and it came from eastern Colorado with.
Okay, we suspect now that was from probably the Lamar area where he'd been working across.
I suspected it was from that. He didn't say exactly where, just he came from eastern Colorado.
Okay.
And that they was just on their way, and that they had to stop there and work in the shale, or find a job to get money enough to come on. So they worked there, and where they met Glenn, my brother, and Glenn had a bunch of tools there that he wanted to show Willis, so they came down, and a whole bunch of them from the shale mine, and looking at the tools and all that sort of thing. And of course, Isla, she was a young kid. She was 18, and she was hiding behind the door and everything else, looking and watching. And well, he came in. Glenn brought him in, and he met Isla. And we knew she figured right from the start that he liked her. So they stayed together there. We caught him behind the door one time, and it was quite embarrassing to her, of course, because just a young kid.
Now, how long had she known him at that time?
About probably 3 months.
About 3 months. How many times did he, do you think, visit there with you in that, till he left that fall?
It was only a few months there, that 2 or 3, he'd been there 2 or 3 times. And he left there and went to Baker. Why, then he of course, first thing wrote a letter to her. And I remember her going out getting this letter, and she was so happy, jumping up and down. And she wouldn't let anybody read the letter, not even the folks. And so they corresponded. She wrote right back to him, and they corresponded until this was in the late year before we moved to Longview. So on the way out, we stopped and seen him.
Okay, do you remember Dad talking or saying anything about his Oklahoma life? Saying anything about his history?
The only thing that he ever said was I remember him talking about his sister Cora. Mm-hmm. And he never mentioned anything about except Bartlesville and Berryville, Oklahoma, and I remember he saying something about Turkey Hill in Tennessee or something like that, or Arkansas, and he didn't tell us too much, except that he mentioned this, that he'd been training horses and one thing or another, but he never really opened up and told us what he's, and I remember Dad kind of questioning him, but he never said anything to us.
Never did?
No.
Did he mention his folks at all? Or did he?
No, he said they were all gone, that he didn't have any family back there.
Okay.
But that, well, he did say something about his mother being somewhere in the sanitarium. But other than that, I don't remember him saying anything about it.
He had told me that before she died, when he was about, well, Maggie and I, my sister, we've talked, and Fran, and he told a little different, his age. One time he'd say he was 14 or 15, or sometimes 12 or something like this. Mm-hmm. Of course, we all thought he was born in 1896, and he was actually born in 1893.
That's what he told us, that it was 1896 when he was born.
Okay. But he had told us his mother had been in a tuberculosis sanitarium in Junta, Colorado, when she died.
I don't remember him ever saying where, but I do remember him saying that she was in a sanitarium. She
was in or had been in one?
She was in one.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. So we just assumed that he'd left there from wherever she was.
Well, I'll be darned, because he had always said his mother died when he was 15, 16 years old.
You know, now that I think of it, he did mention a sister that had died or something beforehand.
Yeah.
He said that his sister had died, so he was the only child.
Yeah, he had always told us he had several brothers and sisters, but they had died real young when they were right after they were born.
Oh, yes.
Which and his sister Cora had lived a little longer, but and he said that she had Indian land and he had Indian land. And his folks had land, and that's what he'd gotten from the.
Well, he said that his mother had Indian land, but not that. But somehow he got waylaid and didn't get in on it, so he couldn't inherit any part of the Indian land.
Yeah, he told me he did. He later told me he did. As a matter of fact, in Muskogee, we found the deeds, or where he was on the Indian rolls, how much land he got.
For heaven's
And actually, it was his aunt, his mother, his sister, and him all went down to Muskogee and got it signed up at the same time.
I'll be darned.
So that's, he told a slightly different story back then.
Yes, this is the peculiar part, how he was such a precise, upright guy, and you wouldn't believe that he could ever tell a different story unless it was because it had not tell the truth on it.
Do you remember him talking about any of his pets or his animals?
What kind of?
Animal, well, like a horse. Did he ever talk to you about a horse of his, or a favorite horse?
No.
Okay.
No,
How about a dog that he might have had?
No. He never had much to do with dogs or animals that way. He wouldn't pay much attention. No. I don't ever remember him reach down and petting a dog.
So he only knew Mom in Colorado there maybe 4 or 5 months.
That's the most, yes. Yeah. Because you see, we left there. Well, Glenn was in California for 2 years, and he was only back there for 1 year, so that'd be 3 years. So that'd make it mid-24 before he came back from Colorado.
Right.
So it couldn't have been more than a year that he was back till we left for Longview. And Willis that came during that year, probably in the late spring or early summer.
Okay, around May or June time.
Sometime on
Okay, and you guys left in October then?
We left there in October.
Okay.
Late September, I believe we left. It took us 2 weeks to come from Clifton out to Longview, Washington.
Okay.
And he, from the time that we left Longview, they was with us constantly all the time. And
Okay, now just to kind of make it a continuous story, you guys then, you say, went out, he went to Baker and had a job on a ranch there. In October, you guys went through Baker, saw him there?
yes, we went to Baker, and I remember he and Isla arguing because Glenn, of course, had the car, and he didn't want to go out there because, you know, too far, and it was too rough a road and all this, and it was old Hudson Super 6, and he was having trouble with it anyway. He burnt the clutch out on it twice coming from Oregon, coming from California out to Washington. So he didn't want to go out there. But she just bawled and hollered that she had to go out there.
Now there were 6 of you in that car, right?
6 of us in the car.
And everything you owned?
Yeah, everything we owned. Gosh. And camping every night. And gosh, I remember that some of the camps were pretty raunchy. But we made it out there, and friends of ours had left at the same time from Colorado, and I remember seeing them going along the railroad track, and they was on the back of the train. Of course, they knew where that we were coming out, and we waved at them going by, someplace along in eastern Oregon or someplace over there.
I'll be doing
Yeah.
Must have been quite a way to travel, huh?
Oh, yes, it was all gravel road. There was no pavement or anything, but all gravel. And it was 2-way. And
Well, what cities did you go through on the way out? Do you remember? Did you come through Utah?
Oh yeah, we came across the Soldier Summit in Utah, over to Salt Lake City, and then from Salt Lake we went north into Idaho. Came up through Twin Falls, Idaho. I remember Twin Falls, on the Snake River, and then we came through Boise and Baker and out to Baker, which is only about 100 miles from Boise.
Oh, okay. That's right, Baker's up in the northern part of Oregon, in the
It's
northeast.
the northeast corner.
Yeah.
Up there with LeGrand and then Baker.
Okay. And then, how long did you stay there at Baker? Just a day or two?
Just a day. One day went out there to the ranch, and in the morning met him out there. I remember that as we come back, we had a picnic lunch that Mother had fixed that morning before we went out, and we drove out along this real crooked road, on mountain road, and when we got out there, I told him we was going to have picnic lunch. Why, he started us back on the other road. He said he knew a place where we could go, and a little schoolhouse where they had a picnic table. And we started out, and it was always just around the next bend, It seemed like we went for 2 hours to get to that picnic lunch tent. But and Isla, of course, she was just on pins and needles all the time. But we had lunch and went back to Baker that same day. Took him back to the ranch, and then we went on to Baker, and then came on over to Arlington. I think that night we camped next to in Arlington. And
well, then you guys went on to Longview?
we went on to Longview because that's where they were supposed to have lots of jobs out there then. And Dad and Glenn both went to work. Long Bell, a big lumber company there. They hired anybody that'd come in, where they'd hire them and put them to work, and they'd buy anything they wanted at the mercantile. They rented a company house. I remember we had to sit on apple boxes because we didn't have any furniture.
Now, how old were you at that time?
I was 10.
10.
Yeah. Oh, well, I was 9 really at that time, because they weren't married till I was 10. And we went from there to, first time I seen the ocean up at Olympia. Well, it was Longview, about a year and a half.
Okay, why don't we just take a quick break here, and then we'll cover what happened after Mom and Dad got married and left Longview.
Okay.
Okay. One second here. Let me just check something. I'm making sure it was recording.
Just a minute.
Okay.
Let me read this over.
Okay.
We left Longview in June of 27. Willis and I was in Olympia. And first time we seen the ocean was in June of 1927. It was in a 1924 Model T Ford. Camp there. Went to Eastern Oregon to Milton Freewater working the fruit. And we was there for the 4th of July. I got my hand burnt with a firecracker there. Moved to Elgin that late summer. Worked for a fellow by the name of Witherspoon. And he had jobs there for all 4 of them, Mother and Dad, Lois and Isla. And they worked there thinning apples. And it was late in the season, so the apples were getting pretty big, but they went ahead and thinned them anyway. And because he wanted to send these apples to England, because they were called school apples. And that's what they said, they sold them to England as school apples, so the kids could take an apple to school. And they were small, but we stayed there that winter in Elgin, Us kids went to school there, and Willis and I still lived with us all the time. And cold in Elgin that Dad couldn't stand it there. And so the next spring, we peeled out and went down to Southern Oregon.
Okay, now Elgin, that's where you come from, Longview to Elgin to work in the apples.
Down from Elgin, Longview, working the apples. And Willis, he was going to stay and work in the packing house there. But when we decided to pull up, Dad couldn't take it there. He had all with us.
Yeah, where, that was before Mom, or that was after they were married, right?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
We got married. It was a year, 2 years. And
What year then, from there you went to Grants
that
Pass?
was 1928.
28.
We went to Grants Pass. And because the original rumor was a Monday for me about that time. And the first winter there in Grants Pass, we lived in the rented house out in Jerome Prairie, and they heard a blast late at night, and they took the Applegate River Bridge out. They wanted where the railroad crossed. Took the bridge out because of flood.
So this is in 1928.
28.
Well, you had a lot of rain that year?
Oh yeah, real heavy rain.
Well, now what time of the year had you
Rain
moved?
for 3 or 4 months. We went there about September.
Oh, okay.
First kids go to school.
I see.
And we spent that year there, and Willis was pretty much into chickens then. He wanted to raise chickens. So we started a chicken ranch there, and we had 1,000 laying hens. It took them 3 years for him and Dad to get this flock of chickens built up. They had a contract with a hatchery in Petaluma, California, to take the eggs to hatch for chicks. And they was producing hens that would lay over 300 eggs a year. And so they got the first case of eggs sent to the hatchery, and the hatchery went broke. Here they sat with a big feed bill on the hen, on these 1,000 laying hens, and could get more than 10, 15 cents a dozen for the eggs.
Oh, boy.
So they had to call the butcher, and he'd come out, took the chickens for his price. And I remember him and Dad sat there haggling, and Willis stood there and watched them, haggling over how much they was going to pay for chickens. And Dad said, well, how much are you going to give me? Well, he said, this was 15 cents a pound for chicken. And Dad said, well, but I owe more than that for the feed on them. Yes, but he says, I've got to have mine. Don't worry about whether you've got the feed or not. So they was left with a big bill.
Well, I remember Dad was still paying that off in groceries,
Right.
Bread.
Right.
Now, that was after they actually had the farms there, right?
Yes.
Okay, now, the first year you were there, you rented a place out in Jerome Prairie?
Yes.
And then, as I recall...
About the next 4 years we stayed there in that place.
Okay.
And us kids went to school there.
Okay, but then you guys got your own land, didn't you?
No, not till later. About 31, just before Margaret. Well, no, Margaret had been born before we went up and got our own land.
Oh, is that right? Because there was a big chicken house there on the...
Oh, yes.
On our place.
They built a big chicken house, and after that, Willis did up there on his place. And we had the place just below it, and built a house there. We went up, whenever we went up and helped Willis build his house. And Margaret was a baby then, and I was before you were born there. And but Margaret, she was born on the old Adams place down there.
Well, that's right. She wasn't really born in the hospital, was she?
No. I think the Rays are born in the hospital.
I always thought I was born in Josephine County Hospital. I was born right on the...
Born right there in the Jerome Prairie house.
Well, I'll be darned. I didn't realize
I
that.
remember the night you were born. And
Probably should have drowned me then, huh?
well, your mother doggone near did. She was working in the strawberries in the spring in June, and of course it was warm outside, but she didn't realize it. And you was cold. Mother went up there one day, and you was for to turn blue because you was so cold. And she just put you out there in the basket, and you sit and live in the basket. Of course, that you was only 4 months old.
Yeah, because I was born in February.
Yeah, born in February, and this was in June. And Mother just raised hot blood in Mother because she didn't take care of her. Yeah, you never knew what she should. Because she wanted to be out with Willis all the time. And she'd leave you kids there, walk. She'd come in and check on you now and then. She'd walk and be with him out working the strawberries or something like that.
Yeah.
And Mother used to get so mad at her.
But yeah, I remember even just as a little kid, because we moved off the farm then when I was about 5, because they wanted to get into town where Maggie would go to school,
Yeah.
or real school.
Yeah.
And I remember being alone a lot, and us kids playing a lot around the place there.
Yeah.
And the old apple tree and the...
Playing the irrigation ditch.
Yeah, get spanked for it.
Yeah, she used to chase you up and down that ditch, trying to catch you and give you a paddle. You kids would run like that. Practically thumb your nose out.
We did.
Oh, gosh, it was funny. And Willis was such a good guy, such a husband, real good husband, father.
Yeah, it's really strange that he had 2 complete different lives.
Yep, he sure did. He just chopped it off. Didn't even. I think he even thought about it. He just tried to put it off his mind.
Yeah, I think there was something there. We're pretty sure he, killed somebody,
Yeah.
and I think he was afraid to go back.
Yes,
And
I'm sure that's what it is. He was just so afraid that they'd be put in pen that he just didn't. Just wanted to forget the whole thing, and that's the only way he thought. He did the best he could.
Yeah, we always thought maybe he'd have been in contact with somebody, but
I don't believe he ever contacted anybody. I don't believe he even told anybody. Except in later years, I think he did tell my dad.
you think so?
I think my dad did. Not exactly, but he knew there's something.
Well, we often thought that he might have told Granddad, your dad, before they were married. Because they always got along so well together.
Yes.
We speculate he might have.
Willis would do anything that Dad would do.
Yeah. Yeah, we often thought maybe that...
It could be, but Dad sure never let on anybody, if he did.
Yeah.
And I think in later years, Dad would have, well, I don't think he would either. My dad wouldn't
He'd never told...
betray the trust of
No.
anybody, in any way, shape, or form.
Well,
He wouldn't sure tell my mother.
Oh, no.
It'd be all.
No, they wouldn't told Grandma. And Arna told me later that Mom knew he'd been married before.
Oh yes, oh yes.
That was after he had his heart attack.
Yes,
He had told it.
because I remember at that time somebody said something. I think it was Violet and I was talking, and she said that I had mentioned. He said something about Flossie.
Flossie, did he actually name her?
Mm-hmm.
Is that right?
Yeah, when he was about half conscious, his heart attack in the hospital. He mentioned Flossie, and I said something to somebody about him saying something about Flossie. But she didn't. She didn't at the time. I don't think. Well, maybe she did. I guess that Lillian
Medrose.
Medrose.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lillian Medrose. I've been trying to think of her name. I think that she knew that.
She's the one that told Violet.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Was it Lillian Medrose or Leela Solomon?
I thought it was Medrose.
No, there was a Lillian Medrose who was Mom's buddy,
Maybe
but
it was Leela.
I think it was Leela Solomon.
Maybe it was Leela Solomon.
I think it was, yeah.
Because she was staying with me all the time.
Right. That's right, Dad was fixing Leela's roof when he had the heart attack.
Oh, was he?
Yeah, he was up there in the middle of summer trying to repair a roof.
Yeah.
And he collapsed.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's, yeah, it was Lita. In fact, Violet, once I had talked to Arna about this, and I had made the trip back, Arna told me then that Violet told her that she knew Dad had been married before, that he told Mother. And Leela told her that Leela and Mom knew about it. And Leela later told Violet.
About it.
Yeah. Yeah, and she said that Mom cried for 3 days. She couldn't imagine Dad being married before.
But after they came up there from Vancouver, later years, I tried to get Willis to open up and tell me his life. But we used to go over and see him quite often over there when they lived over in Oxford.
Right.
And I tried to get Willis to tell me, and he'd go just so far, and then he just got off.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's really funny. In 1973, I think it was, Lorraine and Jim sat him down, and they made a tape that lasts for about an hour. A little tape cassette they made.
Oh, yeah.
And in that tape, he talks about his childhood, and they just almost said, we wanted to put your history on tape. Well, when all this other stuff broke, and I talked to Lorraine after we got back from last April, when I got back from Oklahoma, she mentioned they had the tape, and she also mentioned that we were going to go to this reunion last fall, and she said, well, should I bring the tape? And I said, well, yeah, I'd like to hear it because I hadn't heard it. Well, we got some really good, the whole group that was there, all the cousins, all heard that tape.
Oh, for heaven's sake.
It's pretty interesting. Well, I'm going to cut this off now. We may just continue this later, but I'd like to go out and get some pictures of Jerome Prairie, where we first lived, where I found out I was born.
Okay.
We get a chance, because we're going out to your place anyway, or down to Hoyer here, and then maybe we can go out to Jerome Prairie and take a look.
Okay.
Okay, doke? This is the name of the old country road where we used to have the old homestead where I was born. I'll picture that in a couple of minutes. So this is the place where my grandparents used to have their old house. It was made out of logs. And where those trees are, there's a creek. And they used the side of the creek right over here. And right behind those trees is where we used to have all the little goats in where our farm was, and our farm is just the other side of that creek. We'll get a picture of that in a minute. Right back there against where those trees are, that's where we used to have the big chicken house. This house right here is sitting just about where our house, the old frame wood house that Dad and Uncle Ray built. And right back there is where the chicken ranch was. The big chicken house. And then this house is brand new. And then right there where that pickup was, that's where the creek is, and that's where we used to have the old goat pen. And back again on the house that's sitting where ours used to be, right about where that garage is behind that car, right to where our house was. In fact, that's where I was born, right in that house, where the house used to be. So here's the address where I used to live. A little old tiny house, and they got some apartment buildings here. I probably used to run back to where the second house is. The only thing I recognize here now are these two old locust trees. There used to be a whole big line of them off to the right. It's the only thing left. I'm on the corner here of Road River Avenue and 6th Street, or 5th Street, and it's the only old house I recognize there, and this old black walnut was on the corner. That's where you used to come and steal them from the old lady. One thing I can recognize the old neighborhood. Everything else has been developed. Okay, this is Donna and Vince McElmurray, and I'm at their house in Roseburg, Oregon, and I'd like Donna to